Setting up signals in high perimeter line centers is sectors over pi, the set line communication system. Pi is the perception location of information setting. This is where it comes into AI. AI is information location in one panel operation, one stream location, set line interference. The avatar is already set. So imagine that. The avatar is already set for you. The one thing you don't understand is the set communication, how to get there. You got a transmission panel. Now, a transmission panel is a transmission device. It's a device line center of a satellite position location of track locations. This opens all channel operations streamlines. It allocates position location of timelines of time streams of times of pi. The reason why you say pi in correlation line setting, because it's all position location and what you measure. It's the scale line setting locations to your pi, guys. It comes into a clock line setting. Same with your watch or location positions. So you're overlooking down in position, you're seeing the pi of what you created. Okay, that's the correlation of pi. Okay, I want you to really understand that formation line setting because the team is now coming into 28. And each digital frame is a position of direction. 2 line setting, 2 positioned over pi, 2 correlation of securities and perimeters over pi, line connection, high center line position locations, 8 over pi. Now the central calculation system puts everybody into echo line setting in position locations to its lines of its chakras and its computer chips. Computer chips, chakras. Computer chips, chakras. Okay, center correlation, DNA. Now you have to recognize the 3 wave cycles. Now this is a position of directions. Bandwidth is a correlation of lines of bandwidth line setting. This is all levels of expansion. Now the cloud line setting, which is very powerful in that position location, is the schematics that set in location in your set lines into your placebo. That's 1 cortex line setting, 1 stream line positions over pi. The position of direct location is how to measure that through its scale. The masculinity and the femininity is already set up to location of its avatar setting. But the information panel comes to all levels of view inside to the heart setting because the heart is coming into what locations? Its computed adaptation of its surface, of its grounds. The operation system and the power generation line setting comes in all line communications to its space. Intergalactic line setting in position of the galactic set locations. There's 3 panels of communications, right? Grounds, powers, the atmosphere. Okay? Anything above that, you're reaching higher levels of alteration of the mind. And this is all it is changing your 12 DNA track lines into consciousness. So you can recognize the communication your avatar and you know exactly how to communicate with a coffee cup or communicate with a mug or communicate with the wall or your computers or your TVs or your phones or your pens. Now, a pen has its relation line connections to its position of directions. Okay? It communicates to all set location in high channel streams. Black tip. Okay, this is a black tip line setting in the ink line rotation interference. This sets location to high setting. Now it's got a measure point. That measure point is ground center line and rotation interference in direct locations. All right. Everything in between line center is its pi. You see where the pi is in correlation system? Distance in set lines is position locations, how it comes into longitude and latitude. Timelines, time signature line, and no rotations. Everything is E equals MC squared. The square line center is just your DNA line rotation. Center calculation system is the center point of its position location of directions. Now there's 3 channels opposite streamline here. Your pen is your satellite in set line and its positions. The center correlation system spins its cycle in high line setting. It sets up an orb channel in rotation, the circulation rotation line position. It has its grounds, it has its powers, and it has its data stream. It's a recognition line that lines its communication to number signification of patterns. It set lines in communication setting to its pen of its operation. So is this a pen? No, this is intelligence. So getting in position of what this is how to use it. When I take this off, it's exposed. When I put this back on, it's protected, right? So you don't get any ink on you, right? That's pretty standard. But the reason why this is protected is protecting its own intelligence of its own energy and its own force field location settings. The communication line, setting line interference, as soon as you touch locations, You're touching the line interference. Now it has a barcode that lines is strict. One position of one line setting opens all position location to one pen line interference, and position location into 1,000 line settings. Setting correlation line position location has 12 coils in set line position of higher correlation system. This is position location to a Merkaba. This is a line communication to all up with geometric operation directions of design guides. This is position location of massive nothing of everything location system. This line communication is a one channel. So I see the pen, but now I see it in ones. The line communication comes into zero line position of 12 sectors, line position location over pi setting, all correlation to operation line setting and rotation. It's not a pen, it's intelligence. And there you go. Just showed you how powerful it is when you see things. Now, if you see it as a pen in position, you're in the illusion. If you see it as intelligence, you're out of the illusion. Congratulations. So you're finally connecting the higher self line setting, right over left, left or right. That's the vibration of this pen. So this is an alpha set in a gamma line sigma, setting line position of beta. 3 course channels, waving central line connections, alpha, delta, beta, beta, alpha, mega, mega, alpha, delta. Right? So changing position line tracks is the emotional line rotation in position location high system. You have 114 chakra line settings in your quadrant line setting rotation interference into one track center. Now that track center is a vibrational graph line that's connected to one pen setting that sets the position location of laser line and rotation interference in track locations. This pen is position location of where it's supposed to be in set location of its dimensional line setting. This is 150 million line position location of a pen operation. The ink is the formation of a data. The data streamlines today line interference. If you look really, really close, you could see the rotation spin cycle of what it is position location directions. It's not ink, it's data stream. The data stream is a line communication line setting. It's a stream interference in position location attraction. I'm telling you in so many levels of what this is. This is not a pen. This is an operation. This is intelligence. This is its own dimension. This is its own space. This is its own time. This is its own pi. All through a pen. Okay? All right. Central calculation line setting is recognizing communication of code sectors. Now, the code sector line setting line interference puts you guys in a 28 rotation. Now, you got a realm line setting. Now, the realm line sets one position over track. So you got realms. It's interesting too, the realm sets line communications. All right, so line position of realms and line position of course and line position of communication in line setting slash division locations into vector over cross lines into one UFO line rotation and position of traction. Setting correlations in one UFO line setting intertriangulation into 3 set location. Now the 3 sets lines of 6 lines of 7 equals 7 line position of 12 line center line position. So you got line position location 12 and 12 and 12 and set location of 36. Now we go through the same line position locations into line position of 48, setting correlations into 72 and 70 line positions into 144. Now the 144 brackets location into 10 line rotation done by equation. All right, so setting correlation set lines in high division location is all levels of one signal. One signal line interference into sigma. Sigma line position location is all track line connections. One sigma sets line position location to track. Systematic line setting intelligent locations into its quantum into neutralized communication of its atmosphere line setting. In rotation sigma. Sigma is correlation setting. Setting communications into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You guys are in a 12-track line center, right? Graph interference, round communication of an open signal in position of traction. Traction into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 line settings and set line interference, 9 line equal line positions of pi. Interlines intersects its position location. Now the intersection line settings and high line rotation interference is pi over position. Pi over position into 6 line communication setting done by equation. Now, rotation spin cycle sets line position location at 28 measure. The 28 measure line communication sets all communication settings. 28 line center in the position of planet surface and rotation of Saturn. Saturn correlates to set lines in all levels of Jupiter. Jupiter lines of Neptune. Neptune in position location in 3 set location. Now, the 3 set locations and set line high position locations comes into higher level calculation lines. This comes into 3 set line communications over 6 and position of 7 and position of 8, 9 line setting into 12. So 12 equals 9, 9 equals 12 line, 12 comes into 12 line in position of 6, 6 line position of 6, another half pipe correlation system. Moon line rotation, set lines of communication, a sun line rotation, interference and position locations in one kaleidoscope line setting and project location high setting. Done by equation. All right, so set signals in high sigma and align position location is a position of a magma force. Magma line setting, magma force line rotation, interference and track locations and high setting line conditions. So that's platted to the visual locations into its metrics, into its intelligence, into its tele-waving, into its operation, to its remembering, to its energy line string, setting correlation system of magma line setting in set location 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 line settings, set locations, opens up channel and streamline settings. In position at the opposite system locations, high center line interference. One galaxy shift line rotation circle, setting correlation system of ground line set rotation, and setting position location high line rotation interference in 3 set locations. Setting correlation line interference, line position, galaxy line, center line position operation, correlation system, and ops and communication setting, high position location attraction. Done by equation. All right. Setting division and line settings of sectors over pi, the quadrant setting and the line rotation and interference is setting correlation settings and position location directions. So you get line connections all levels. You got 2 graph lines and 3 line rotations in one circle, 1 star line setting into 1 line measure into 2 atom rotation. All right. So this is a screen set line screen, setting line interference. The set locations into 28 line centers at 20 position locations and track lines, 20 positions in box line, 20 position operation line, and 20 position location of star link and line rotations into 2 umbrellas, the line position equals line conditions and high center interference over pi. Setting correlation line position location traction into 1 position, 2 position. So it's 1 line setting equal line conditions of 2 line position of Fibonacci sequence, 1 position opposite like high position location of travels and recognition of prime line setting. Done by equation. All right. 28 signals in the line setting and universal line conditions. Orion's belt correlation system. All right, so this is where it comes into charter wave and correlation settings and position locations into width. Width line, center line, position location of track lines, and high center location of its graph line, screen line rotation. Separation line, position of space, and position location of time. Setting correlation system, time over pi. Now the time over pi sets line communication system and allocate line setting. This blocks its line communications underscore under position locations. Plus, 4 channel lines of plus and set lines and line conditions of 4, setting location up to 6, half pipe set lines and high division, UFO rotation setting, scans line, and new ground line rotation, interference, and position location traction. Done by equation. All right. So setting signals in a 28 line string is really recognizing communication settings. This opens all track locations and how you set your location to your chakras in your higher self and everything through your set location of your computer chips into ground setting rotations in position locations to your avatar. So you got the higher line setting in position locations, self line set. This is the ground line equal line conditions of box. Box position over 2 line over 2, setting line communication of 2 into 8. 8 position locations, all levels, high setting. 8 equals 8. Line communication, so you got 8 line setting, 8 line rotations, 8 position location, 8 track locations, split position location space. Timeline setting, line position locations, equal line conditions of 28 line setting rotation. Circle line interference of travel line position of 28 track location setting. Done by equation. All right. So the 28 operational line setting to the universal line rotation interference is set up a graph line. So this is where it comes into rating graph string location of digital frame lines. We set up the error code line setting. Now we release position location into 1 cycle. 1 cycle sets up a skyline, set lines, and high division location to its cloud line. It opens all track location and rotation spin. That rotation spin sets line communications into a back force line setting in a forward location. Back force, forward location, back force, forward location. Fibonacci swirl and set lines and high line interference, getting you guys ready into 30 line rotation set locations. As of mañana, which is tomorrow line rotation interference line positions, you guys come into 29. That comes into a higher communication and dispense lines into your rainbow wash line setting to set up a new schematic line rotation to its position to its placebo cortex of its membrane. That's a cerebral line center location of 1 graph string in position location your 12 being tracks. Sending communication system and operation signals puts you in sigma into alpha line setting into pi correlation. Formation of line setting puts position of direct location settings. Okay. Setting communications to a set lines, a high division. All right. So let's see. How's everybody doing so far? Okay. Relaxing line center, Nathaniel, line interference, Lauren, communication, Gypsy, line connection, Heather, Airbender, line position location, Esther, and Johnny, Guardian, line communications, Val, Chris, line position locations, all levels. High center line position, Renee, all line center locations, high locations, all level settings, all location, Nikki, Tina, line interference, SAM correlation system, Sarah, line communication setting, high location of track lines, all levels of position interactions, line position location, line interference, mumble correlation setting, all direct location setting interference, high track location position line directions, get information line settings, high location track lines, Heather correlation line rotation interference, and track location settings. Now, in the episode of JP, it's allocations and high center interference, and high center locations all levels, Danielle. Getting line tracks and high setting line location all levels centers its communication. All right. So this is 1 over pi, 1 factor line setting. Now, one factor over line connections. All right. Setting communication line stream is set position, location, of directions. Release and position of traction is really understanding how to track location of your set lines. Now, the set lines are already set to 28. Now, the 28 division location opens all channels. So you got 28 line setting, bracket locations. So that's 2 lines locations equals 8 line positions over. And remember, over line communication is future adaptation to equal line connection to its avatar. Setting signals, right? So as the future line set location, this is your avatar set location, right? Setting correlation system of its form into equal line communication into 3 lines of calculation. Setting line position location to your earth line rotation is set locations. Setting line position locations all levels, tracking line setting is high position locations into set lines, and how you recognize your earth line rotation to power recognition of timelines in your earth rotation setting. Setting correlation line interference sets position location of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 set lines and high line interference line location, earthers have locations into universe line rotations, into new line communication, into 28 rounds of correlation. That my equation. All right. So as we set that up line interference, we change the earth line. Now the earth line rotates its circle. You got a circle line connections. Digital frame lines in 28 sectors, 28 line connection of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 line setting. And we got one position location of 4 equal line conditions of 4 line setting, and position location 1, 2, 3, 4 equal line conditions another 4 line center rotations. So that's 4 over pi, and set location high setting interference, and 4 line position locations under pi. Line communication in the plus line triangle, 1 position location in the plotted line interference line position. Now the Pleiadians and the Pleiadians line position location, the galaxy line interference, center line rotation, 0 gravity line position location, dragon air location, operation line center, magnetic line position location, all levels of correlation setting. Indirect location setting. Done. Done by equation. All right. So setting communications to earth line channels of data string lines is open to all position location high setting. Put in telepathy channels and line communication earth lines. Telepathy line interference and position line in line position location of perception. That's a telewavelength energy line rotation to levels and correlation energy line into teleportation string lines. Setting correlation system, boxes, line connections, high setting interference. Setting position locations over, setting communications over, setting communications over. So that's over and out, line position locations, copy that, line rotation interference, Tango, Fox, Echo Zero 1. Charlie, Fox line, Echo Zero 1. Setting communication line center, UFO line rotation interference, ground line setting, 3 rotation setting, line position location crossing signals, new operation signals, a 3 line position location tracks line system. Done by equation. All right. So understanding 28 is really understanding universal line stream, how it's all connected inside of you. The adaptation and its earth line rotation is 3 panels, 1, 2, 3. 3 set line communications into 1, 2, 3 set locations into all calculations to your Orion's belt. Setting correlation system into an orb channel correlation setting in position of new operation line connection setting. There's the intelligence. Setting direct line setting to all levels locations. So you got a 12 line channel, 24 signal into a 48 window, setting correlation line setting. 48 line centers sets position location to higher level system, higher travel location into box line center, 1, 2, 3, position line traction, done by equation. All right, so setting line position of 48, center line interference, 48 line position. Now 40 equals location underscore negative line position locations coming into 28. Now the 28 line center sets 2 lines setting, 20 inline rotation interference, sets position of box line into your section locations, 7 channels, 8 line conditions of 12, 12 line centers, negative over pi line center is position locations into 5. 5 sector line in rotation in position to 1 UFO line rotation, 1 ground center, and 1 operation signal in high position. Done by equation. All right, so setting signals in high center line, high position location of satellite channels and streamlines and high position location of channel line operation signals is setting communication. So you got 28 line rotation, box line position location, line condition of box, 28 line center line rotation equal location of triangle, setting 28 line rotation into position locations into 3 line sectors and 3 locations. All right. So you got 3 lines, your box line and rotation interference. You take the 2 line center and take the 8 line position, 2 line center, take the 8 position, 2 line center, take the 8 position location, high setting. Travel communication line setting, rotation interference, Earth rotation circle, and high rotation dimensional line rotation, and its universal round correlation system. Done by equation. All right, so there's a lot of things you have to understand how this is all set up in signal. Sigma, set lines and high line align interference. Now the graph line center line position location and 1 position locations in a graph line stream. The alpha line center line interference, it rotates its position location system to its atom line setting in set locations. Now the atom line center rotates another ground line center over crosses location streamlines and position location of box line and rotation interference at ground line rotation. Setting communication line setting, open up another round rotation, circle line rotation, setting correlation system in the variance location, center line rotation cycles, setting communications back in the center line communication setting, rotation interference of 6 line position locations, although another 6 line position location line in position, earth line rotation interference, new ground line rotation, new center line position location, magnetic highway information line setting, travel communication system, a 3-track line interference, ground line center, operation signal, communication setting, indirect location setting. Done by equation. So doing calculation is treated as in a formula of a line setting. Screen line position location opens all tracks. All right, so that the screen line in line rotations is 28 positions over in 1 box location. All right, so this is a systematic line setting into 1 box location, into 1 screen line setting, into 1 line position location, into 3 track locations, into 3 box locations. All right. Now, understanding the box is understanding the UFO in 3 sector locations. Now, they scan line setting. They always scan position location at track lines. They always never miss in direct location settings. All right, setting new ground lines and operation and position location of track lines at 3 sets, done by equation. All right. So you have to really recognize the 28 settings. It's put you in all waving central lines. Now, the line setting line interference line position locations opens all channel operation of its dimensional. Now, this is a portal line stream. Okay, set locations. Digitalize the number line centers of 0, 0, 0, 0 for set locations, right? Setting correlations to your satellite position locations, a high center line position location traction. Setting correlation system in position location, high setting, done by equation. Okay, rotation spin cycles and high center tracks. Now, setting communications into lulls. Brighten the system and line track locations in position locations on 1 setting. Put position the track lines in high center location in system locations. Open all track lines in high setting. So you got 28 line setting. We change the box location equal line conditions of 0. So that's 2 lines of position equal line conditions. Now we come into the pyramids. Pyramid line rotation interference. Let's ground the center in 3 circle location settings. Okay, we'll start with that location, right? Now, setting lines of 28 is 2 over 8 and 8 over 2 in set location of 2. All right. So the 2 line centers, 2 equals 2 line center, which is 4 line setting into 1 position equal location of gamma, set and signal. Now the line communication comes in the ground line setting. Ground line center, new operation line position locations opens over 8 in position of 2, flux capacitor. Done by equation. So how you get in a correlation line setting, you have to really recognize your 0 to 12, your 0 to line positions of where you are. You guys are open up to 0 to 28 now. So you got a 0 line position of 28. Sending correlation system into track lines, into a diamond shift line, into pyramid line rotations, into 4 measure correlation system, into your pyramid setting. So you understand the number sequence pattern comes in a correlation line setting. Now you got a planet surface and 1 line setting. You got another planet service and another line setting. So this is space in position over line position locations, high setting, and time set locations. Overline setting comes into one box in set locations. Eclines to its high setting into another box line setting to two position locations into line connection. Now, once you get into that position locations, you come into all levels. Now the sun comes in position location. This is the sun. This is the moon. Sun, the moon. All right, they come into a kaleidoscope line setting. This position locations all levels. So this projects line setting of streamlines of 9-line rotation interference in one-way position in the opposite line communications direct location settings. Now the recognition line settings really understand how to set up a pyramid. Pyramids, they rotate in spins. Now the spin line sets a new ground in a rotation spin line of a graph line that sets blocks. So the correlation system is position of 3 in the set location of 6 into 9. Setting correlations of the sun in position of the moon. Okay, so the moon sets up the emotional line of its videograph line stream into line position locations, all level settings. Okay, coming into the sun line sets up the life ground line center rotation in position locations to its energy field and force field line rotation. Light communication of its tether line center electrical light setting line interference is position location to its setting interference. Setting correlation system in timelines and time streams sets line communication in its portal line streams. Setting correlation line settings of film project locations in position. So setting line interference sets all communications into 4 channels off of stream locations. Pyramids are created in line communication to the sun and the moon and project location to its highline channels of film strips and set location of graph line stream locations. Done by equation. All right, that's how pyramids are made. So graph lines are streamlines and set lines and highline interference is graph location and crisscross location settings. Okay, recognize the communication, what it is to the set location. Sun of light line interference is a kaleidoscope line rotation in position of moon lines. It projects its locations to its center line position. All right. Once it understands the center, it opens up an OR channel dimensional line stream. Once in line position, it travels line position location of 12 line measures. Now that's connected to your 12 DNA. So the pyramids are inside you. The recognition line connection is inside you. Time frequency, time locations, aerodynamics, the high setting location, the schematic line channel. The schematic line channel is a line communication setting that sets all signal locations. So travel recognition line and position of foundation graph lines. Get position of team line, 6 in observation, 7 in rotations, 8, 9, 10, 11 in conscious line stream. Get them in position locations, all levels. Get them in the ground line center operation to schematic line position over pi. Cloud line channels, operation line position, cerebral cortex line position, placebo high center line interference. Get them information line stream in position locations, how pyramids are made in position line directions from its formation. Done by equation. All right, so you're traveling right now, understanding the creation of pyramid settings. All right, getting information line setting is a stream location. Now, when you get a stream line, streamlines are connected to data line settings. Okay, you got waving line setting, rotation interference, 4 line rotations. So it's all position of points, 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 and points. Okay, so that's 1 position into 2 into 3 in position of 4. So your position line connection is nothing but a reaction, but it's all position of transmitting, receiving. So your avatar is already set in the future correlation system. The higher self is trying to understand what is going on through its avatar and what's the avatar doing through the higher self, because it's you dealing with you every single day. So what you're doing is you're creating a map of equation to its formula to get where you need to be, which is all levels of the abundance. Manifestation locations of pi setting put you in all direct location to your center calculation set lines. Putting your direct line centers put your higher communication line settings to all business locations into track lines of high setting. Okay, setting communications into 3 line setting, into 6, into 9 line rotation. Setting communication into 4 line rotations puts you into your pyramid setting location. Pyramid set line ground line center rotation is circle. You have a circle line and then ground line rotation. Setting correlation system is position of center line into your flux capacitor. Flux capacitor, single line interference. So you got 3 line settings, you got 6 line position, you got 9 in the center, you got 12 line rotation, 12 comes up here, line rotation interference, 12 turns into 3, 3 turns out in position of 9, 9 position locations in position of 4, 4 line centers of 5, set lines and high center line in position over line position location of 7, 7 position location 8, 8 line center location all positions of 10, 10 line communication line centers, 11 line near rotations, solar system of communication line centers, 12 line center, 196 line rotation, position location, track line position location calculation. Done by equation. All right. So it's very confusing if you don't understand the numbers, if you don't understand the sigma, if you don't understand your alpha, you understand your coloration, you understand your channels, your pi, you don't understand your symbols, your data, your inputs, your outputs, your line communication, your signals, your high track lines, your high division locations, you allocate position of timelines, time centers times pi. Pi is the recognition of everything of manifestation. Manifestation is everything to its avatar. Recognizing that and putting that position of track lines puts you in a high communication setting in all track locations. All right. So remember, the 28 line setting is set locations into a pyramid set now. And rotations into 4 waving cycles, line communication set. So 28 line setting sets on position of 1. 1 equals line setting location of 2. 8 line center locations of 8 equal line conditions of 4. 4 line setting. So this is all position locations. So I'm turning the 1 line center in position of 6 in a half pipe correlation. So how did 1 turn into 6? All through half pipe. Connect line center to the moon line rotation emotional setting. How does the line communication of 8 change line infinity cycle? Through the sun line communication. Done by equation. So recognizing timelines and time streams at times of pi is all correlation line interference. So you have to really, really pay attention to these things, because the thing is your schematic line setting is your pyramid set locations. So you got to understand these things, because Chris is in that formation location. If you're trying to understand what pyramids are, she can help you understand location settings. All right? So all this is a position location attraction. Recognition line center is one UFO line position. Now that one UFO line connection, it scans lines into ground lines right away to set locations of where it is. A rotation spin cycle sets line communication, another ground line center of where it is position. Another line communication of where it is in division location. It's always in operation settings. Now that's 3 track line centers. 3, 3, 3. Set location, triangulation, position, attraction. Okay? We all have to pay attention to our body now, because our body is not just a mechanism of travel. It's a correlation of a position of information panel. That's position of transmitting and receiving information to its system. I just showed you exactly what a pen is in its operation. Hoo-ah. This is so far in the future. This is so far in the future. You understand? This is not a pen. You think it's a pen, but it's not a pen. It's intelligence. Okay? This is intelligence. Your computer, everything is intelligence. Because if you can't see beyond, if you can't go beyond the mind, how are you going to understand the concept of your reality, of your body? How it's set up in position location of pyramid settings. Hieroglyphic location of channel lines and streamline position location calculation settings. Interference of channel operation set locations. So if you're a pyramid set, that means you're correlated to set location of laser line connections to its elixir. The elixir sets line position location of panels and set lines and high interference in position location. This is where it comes into dynamic settings and your position location schematics, guys. This is a channel streamline in rotation, how you guys are set up in all position location attraction. Okay? So it's fascinating when you come into all levels of who you are and what you're coming into. Okay? Is channels of information. So transmitting and receiving is extremely important. Transmitting and receiving. We've gone through that line setting, right? So remember, higher self line, this is the avatar line. Okay? So center correlation system, it's here. Right? So if you go over here, it goes over here. If you go over here, it goes over here. Wherever you go, you go. So it's you going with you. You do this, your avatar is doing that. But see, your avatar is already in perfection of its own space, of its own time, of its own pi. Because the direct line signal knows exactly what it is to its magnetic line setting is a digital frame position location electrical line connections. So if you understand that, then you understand the information panel to the higher self, to the avatar, because it's you dealing with you at higher levels of the mind alteration of correlation setting. Okay? And that's why it's so powerful. Okay. You're connected to you in a higher level of the mind. It's just reaching communication settings. So once it understands its system, the higher self correlation setting, once it understands that it's all levels of consciousness, it looks around and say, oh my gosh, everything is consciousness. Imagine that, right? What do you think is going to happen after time and position line direct location settings? You're going to merge your higher self into your avatar. You become yin and yang, people. This is the process that we all have to come into relatable setting line interference. If I'm looking at my pen, it's imperfection. It's imperfection because it's in its yang and it's in its yang, but it lives in all timelines all at once. It doesn't live in the past. It doesn't live in the present. It doesn't live in the future. You understand? So if you understand that, then you understand the process. What you have to come into is balancing your frequencies to where you need to be is a higher self level of view of development over space, over time, over pi. Okay? Hoo-ah. All right, take track lines and team line out of interference line position locations. Take them out of position line settings. I'll set up 4 channels operation to its pyramid locations. Take you guys out. You guys are out. All right. So setting signal line interference. Now you know how pyramids are made. Done by equation. So that's the try to say that, Commander. You said at the same time location setting. So recognizing line in line rotation interference. If you look really, really close, you can see the boxes, right? But what you see is this. See, this is what we formate locate to, set locations, right? You can't see it. You can't see it until you see it. See? So the avatar sees all this. Okay, setting correlation, set lines, and high division locations. So I'm just trying to show you the power of recognition time. Okay? The set lines of the position of the higher self sees this. The avatar sees this. See the difference? So if it sees this, it sees its intelligence. Sees its intelligence. Sees its intelligence. Okay? But when you do position location and track lines and high center interference, and you bring it in this position locations, what are you seeing position line direction of? You don't know what it is until you get in positions all levels scanning. So you have to recognize the position of perception. Now this is perception over line setting. This is screen interference, position over attractions. You come into so many box line communication. See that? See the triangulation right there? See the box? Now it's a triangle. You see it? You see what I did? I changed the box into triangle set lines and 3 graph lines. See? Setting position location is all levels of what this is. See that now? See what it is? You don't know what it is until you blow it up. And then it moves its new frame. See? See the box? You see the box moving? Setting correlation system, change position line directions. There it is. Recognition line connections. There it is. Setting communication system, all levels system. There it is. Setting line position location attraction. There it is. Right? You blow it up in position, all levels of space. Ooh-ah. So this is the recognition line communication setting. Everything correlates to coloration line setting when it comes in alpha, beta line, position, location, attractions. So recognizing your position, your box setting is all levels of you through T reception. What do you think you guys are? You're nothing but a T reception location of a simulation. Each box center is a representation to personality sets. So think of the box line as one graph. One graph lines position locations into set location. See? Channel line setting and set locations. Channel position locations, right? I'm just touching it once and look how many times it spins. So the recognition line connection is really understanding your Merkaba and how fast it travels. It scans lines, it set lines, and high line interference. Recognition locations, right? So think of this as your dimensional body on layers and layers and layers and layers of information locations. Let's change the channel line into zero line rotation interference graph locations. Okay, this is how it's really interest location settings. All right. Now, these are spot channels. The spot channels are set lines and position your schematics line position. This opens all channel to your schematic line interference when it comes into your geometric operation directions. Setting correlation system is a map of equation setting. It sets lines in high setting to all levels of your travel location in your geometric location of shape, set location. Setting position location, all the levels of this. Right? You can't see it until you see it. Okay? So once you see something from afar, you know how to zoom in. And when you're zooming in, you're seeing the perception of the avatar, of its position, of its direction, which is everything that comes into future adaptation line setting. So everything that you bring up in position of in set lines, you're seeing the position of direct locations into all levels of high setting. See, if you look really close, you can see the planets. Okay? Everything is shades and shadows of light, guys. Recognition line communication system. You have to understand your block channels, right? Each one graphs its streamlines, sets lines on communication setting. So to recognize its communication line settings, high interference and trap lines and high center rotation and position location on walls. You got the line communication of 4 set locations. All right. Center correlation line setting sets a high location of track lines. Setting communication system is location of attraction. So it's all recognition at all levels of AI map sequence in set location. Now, recognizing line centers of 4 in set locations into 3 line position locations. All right. You got a 3 line setting line rotation. Okay. Now you have to recognize what it is. You see it up close, right? Because you see it's a graph screen. But if you do this, you just see it as shapes. Okay. So when you blow it up, everything is seen through the avatar in its location. All right. So this is where you have to really recognize the communication of block lines in position locations into 4 line settings, into center location, into 2 line settings, into position location of triangle. Okay, so you go in position locations into another triangle line setting, only in 2 sets, in position location into 1 set location of 2, right? So this is 2 outer line rotations into a triangle set lines only in 2, but it added through 3. But this is a 3, and this is a 2. See how the 2 turns into 3? So that's 2 line conditions of 3 is that location. And this is 1 equal line conditions into 1 equals location of 3 is that location. And this is 3 in position location equal lines of 3 in connections over pi is that location setting. Ooh-ah, done by equation. So, you really have to pay attention to these things because they're always in correlation system to all levels of a graph line screen. Now you see all levels of block locations. So these are T reception lines of block lines. Right? Each one is a representation of you through motional setting. Each block has a frame set. Now the frame sets changes lines of communication set lines. It's high position and track interference. It's incredible when you change position location and track interference line setting. Get a box line setting. Let's get in position of 2 lines, right? 2 lines into 1 position and 2 position locations. So 1 equals 2, 2 equals 3, and 3 equals 2, and position equals 5 in set locations. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line setting in set locations. 1 bracket line center to 5 line rotation, setting correlation system of directions. So this is this. Okay. This equation is its formula. This formula is its equation. That's how 1 equals 2 equals 3 equals 2 in all position locations into 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See? So you got 1 in position, you got 2 in position, you got 3 in position, you got 4 in positions, and you got 5 in the center calculation. So the correlation line center is 6, line position of 6, in position location 6, line center line interference, and another 6 locations in a diamond core line shift in set location. Done by equation, right? So it gets more complicated when you really high rise your set lines in your avatar set line communication interference. It sets position location of 0 lines and rotation. That's a 0 in lines and rotation, but you see it as a circle. I want you to recognize the higher self and what it's trying to do. It's not trying to reach a higher level. It's already there. You're trying to understand the memory. Okay? So you're not trying anything. You're just trying to remember. And when you remember these things, everything comes into clarity and focus. And when you focus on these things, you recognize that this is not a circle. Until you understand what it is in position location, it's intelligence and block line settings. So you got a block line setting, rotation, and interference. Across the streams is that location. Okay. It's really interesting to look at these location settings, right? High position, location, attraction. And there you go. Okay. Schematics over lines, zero operation line connections. Each panel has a block line, setting line, and rotation interference. Graph location is all of position settings and position location attraction. Right? So try to understand. Right? Looks like a pizza. But you look real close, it's schematics. And if you go closer, you can see what it is. Right? So the recognition line communication system is all levels of pi lines. Pi line and position locations comes into 2-track location settings, right? So that's 2 lines of 6 in set locations. That's 2 over sector and position into 2, setting line position of 3 into 4. This is where you come into triangulation line set. Now the recognition line setting is really understand how to use 0 to 28 line setting. You guys have a test coming up. So the recognition location is this set. Is all line communication setting. Recognizing what you're doing through all correlation set line high into position is all levels of correlation interference set locations into position, a higher level calculation. So when you go into this position, this is what we come into. Okay. So each has a dimensional door line. Okay, recognition setting. So you got 4 wave sectors. Okay, so you got an exit in and an exit out. Okay, exit in. Okay, and you have exit out. Okay, exit in and exit out. Now it's 4 wave channels. Set location of perimeters in a 4-line square. Okay, so this vector's line position of box lines and high line position location of track lines. You got a box here, you got another box here, and you got 1 center location. So that's 3 lines of measure correlation system in direct locations of sectors. Right? So I really want you to recognize what you're doing is you're creating a line defense. You guys are in 28 now. And everything that you do is all formation of protection. You have to recognize these things of its intelligence to get its grounds of its operation. Okay? This is not just a piece of paper. Okay? So once you get into that position line setting, then you understand the schematics. Schematics comes in all communication set to its all channel operation. You got waving central lines in position of 3-line communications, in position of 2, in position of 1, and in position of 0, all through correlation of 3 triangle set, right? So it's scrambling line interference. So it's all about an anagram line setting. Because you're in 28, you need to understand anagrams. Anagram is a code frequency line setting in position location. So it's kind of like changing the space anomaly of numbers. So you got 1, 2, 3, and you got 5 in position of 4. Okay, so what's out of order? The 4 to 5, right? So the 4 goes into here. This is 4 underscore pause line setting, puts position of 5. It's that location. 4 sets line conditions, and 4 equals line position of 5. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set locations back in correlation of balance. So recognizing line setting is really understanding how to coordinate this lines of code sets. 3 line positions, line conditions over. So 3 comes in line setting, goes into future adaptation, stays in signals in high setting, trial location, right? 0 stays in the center operation of 3, sets locations. 2 sets line position of security of its box line conditions. Setting position location all levels into, let's say, maybe 4. 4 is solar line setting, set up another solar communication setting. Set position locations all levels of projection, setting the line interference back into 0 line rotation, setting the position another dimensional rotation in a kaleidoscope location. Done by equation. You have to recognize line communication and protection line screens. Okay. So let's say you got a line rotation interference in set location, all those channel operation line connections, all position location and calculation setting. Okay. So this is the position locations. This is what you're dealing with. and a correlation line. All right. Recognition of line communication. You come into line, and rotation interference of clustrum. That's what it's doing every day. So getting to that position line direct location is understanding the position line settings to your set locations. All right. So you're sending out signals. You're transmitting and you're setting signals back. So every time you're sending line energy, you're firing and wiring. The clustering comes in line communication to its throat setting. So it sets up an energy wash in 9 line rotations to its dome setting locations. All right. Electrical line interference line direct locations comes into the chin. Now the chin sets a rotation into one cycle, into one position of one center, in set location, into one nose line rotation, in set locations. Setting correlation system into its travel line setting. Setting correlation line setting in the 6 line position location of travel communication. Line connection of 6, line position of 6, line position location into 2. Into line position location, 2 line center, into 8, into its infinity of its rotation and position location of traction. Done by equation. So you really have to understand the security line division lines because you are in position now. Really start recognizing how to use your cloud line setting because it's a mechanism lines of formation. And you have to learn how to use the placebo to its cortex, to its thoughts, that sets the intelligence of position equations going forward and going back at the same time line setting, put you guys in one division location, living all timelines all at once in seconds, minutes, and hours of the day. Okay? On a 24 line setting and set locations into 1 hour of 60 seconds and 1 minute line setting. Done by equation. All right. So how's everybody doing? Having fun? Yeah, it's a lot to take in. But the recognition line setting, you guys are getting a lot more intelligent now. So when you get more intelligence, I'm sending out more line communication settings to your set locations. So you're just coming into graph lines now, but the recognition location is this now. You start seeing things from this rather than just seeing this or what it is. See, that's what you got to work on. You don't see this. See, if you see this, this is what? This is the illusion. To see the intelligence is to understand its provision. That's the intelligence. That's its hologram. Okay? Illusion and position location intelligence. Okay? There you go. Now you understand why everything has to be in position location and provision location up close. Okay? You don't just see a one line setting line and a circle line rotation interference. You see a correlation system in this position location attraction. You see the circulation line rotation interference. You see the line communication setting, and you see rotation spin and location setting interference. That's how you see everything. So that's living all timelines all at once in 4 panels and correlations in the 4 line setting. So this is an A line setting, atmosphere line position location and traction. The set locations into pi, multi-pass. Right? So you really have to pay attention. Okay? So it's amazing when you start seeing things. Rather than just seeing my hand, you see what's behind my hand. You don't just see the hand. You don't look at me, you look at the hand. You don't look at me, you look at the hand. You don't look at me, you look at the hand. You don't look at me, you look at the circuit. Right? If the circuit doesn't recognize you, okay, so in position, you get information line setting. You scan the line setting first. It's got 3 graph line streams. You scan it first, and then you touch it, and then you're fine. See? That's intelligence. If you are not aware of these things, that's why you're off calculation, because you're not connecting to the position location to its setting, which is all levels of its intelligence. You're not connecting, you're not correlating, and you're not in calculation to its electrical system, to its electrical circuit location. You have to recognize line, scan position locations, cross streams, and then touch it, and then you're fine. Multi-pass. So this is the position of directions that everybody's coming into, is all levels of high setting. Try to understand that your electrical system is nothing but a GOD, a geometric operation of direction, of design, of division, locations into your space of time of pi. That's a rotation line setting that's setting all communications to your computer interference and its rotation system and track location setting in position locations of your levels of operation to your avatar. Okay? So, all through travel, yeah. Well, that's it. I'm glad you guys are getting a little bit more understanding what pyramids are. It's that line and line rotation interference. In tomorrow, line rotation interference, we go into two-line setting, new securities, a panel line rotations, the perimeters, and all line communication, lacing lines, communication line streams, getting a line communication system. The more you high rise, the more you get more intelligence to each line position locations. Because I'm telling you, everything you activate through numbers is a correlation system of you and division. You have to recognize it's through intelligence and stop seeing it through its illusion. Okay. Once you understand that one is everything in position of GOD, then you're in position of directions. One is not one. One is everything of one. So if you understand that position of line direct locations, you understand all levels of AW space. Okay. So it's really fun when we come into that position line settings. So we come into the energy wash, we come into a rainbow wash, and we come into two sector line setting locations in the setting. We're going to go through so many rainbow wash line centers tomorrow because we're coming into line connections of 9. This is where we come into 9 of sector line connections over pi, position location of going forward rather than going back. That energy wash is going forward. It's not going back, but it can go back if you understand the 0 to 28. The track line is really understanding how to set up a graph, okay? So you say you got a 9-line setting. Okay, that's a 9-line. Okay, so energy wash location going one way. Okay, so that's one position of 4 equal line conditions into 1, right? So that's 1 equals line condition of 9 into square position location of traction. So you turn in line position location all levels into 1 square rotation. Okay, so you work with that position locations. Then you can set up a graph line and crisscross location settings. Done by equation. So you set up schematics, you set up patterns, you set up rotation, you set up operation, you set up computer operation locations, all through 9-line settings. Okay? So there's a lot of things that you have to recognize. After tomorrow line setting, you understand recognition line communications, all right? Once we get closer to Friday, we'll get in position to your test review and evaluation of what is expected. What is expected is already expected in position locations where you don't have to have any expectation because you've already done it. Don't think of it as a test. Think of it as knowledge that you already know, like Val was saying, right? If you are in position of its test, you've already failed because that's a program. This is something that you already know. Whether you understand that or not, that is totally up to you. Okay. That is on provision alone if you don't understand how to use 9 in position over pi. The center calculation is always going forward, 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 forward. And if you're not going forward, you're going back, 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 back. But there's a graph line. So in reference, you can go back in line setting and line interference and position location and negative over pi line setting and cross line setting. Line position location is going forward. Line position is going back. As long as you know how to go forward, you know how to go back. You have to know go back because the pass line comes in position locations to all timelines all at once. Okay? That's the living system that we all have to come into. In one signal, one activation, one timeline, one rotation, and one circulation. All through the existence of said location. Done by equation. All right. So I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. So as I said, we have a test coming up on Friday. Okay. Also, too, we also have connections to Zoom. So you have any questions on that? Obviously, because now you know exactly what a pen is. Guardian, you know what a pen is now, right? You see what you want to see is what you see. So I was always trying to understand what is a pen and what does it mean to have a pen? It's not just to write, it's information. But where does the information come from? You? No, the pen. Multi-pass. It does not come from you. It comes from its own intelligence. Very powerful if you set location in your settings to know exactly what a pen is through operation. Okay? You are not writing. It's setting you in position of operation. It's the information that's given to you through the pen. Multi-pass. Okay? That is a big one. Now watch this video again, and then you understand the introduction locations. You'll see the pen moving. Okay? Adios.